guys. Uh, uh, I think it's better. Can't tell. Alright, guys, welcome back to my channel, TMNJ. My name is Taras, and welcome back to the video. This video will be on my experience in Universe 3. So, I don't know if I said it to you guys. I don't know, because I spread information through Snapchat, through Instagram, through Twitter, through TikTok, through like all the branches of social media that I know of that I'm on thus far. Sorry, allergies are kicking out. But when it comes, I'm turn my LED lights off. It's better. Let's just begin. So, in total, there are 10 universes from my own knowledge of things. And if you want to ask how I know this, my knowledge goes highly towards divination. When I was about 17, like the end of my 17th year, I went towards using pendulums and doing pendulum readings on myself, primarily speaking. Now, mind you, I stopped because I just was like, I don't really like doing this as much, and plus I'd gotten tarot cards, so I made things a lot better. Actually, I got oracle cards. Difference. But basically, I learned that when you're doing pendulum readings, unless you're completely neutral psychologically and energetically, the pendulum will swing on a very biased sort of reasoning. So, what I went towards doing was claim my mind on thinking a single thing as I asked. Well, after asking a question to clear my mind and having no sort of personal biased emotions whilst doing so, so I asked a bunch of questions that, out of curiosity, very specific questions, such as how many universes are there? I thought maybe there's 20 universes. Incorrect. Maybe there's just one. Just to be a little bit more realistic in a sense. The answer was no. So then I was like, okay, is there 10? I thought like maybe 12, because of, I thought about it because after watching Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, I was like, I wonder if there's 12 universes like Dragon Ball Super. I wonder. The answer was no. So I was like, okay, that's great. And I was like, okay, is it 10? And the answer was yes. And I was like, okay, so is it exactly 10? And the answer was yes. So I was like, all right, cool. So that was something for me to comprehend. There are 10 universes that exist, but one Akashic Records. So when you guys saw my other video for understanding the Akashic Records and how to open them and unlock them, comprehend that, bloody hell. Hold on a second, because I don't think I showed you guys properly the book. I don't know if I did. I forget. Hold on. I'll do it now anyway. Give me the time to do so. Alright, so for those who want to unlock the Akashic Records, if I haven't already, this is the book to get by Linda Howe. They how to read the Akashic Records and access your journey and all the jazz. So that's gonna put this book back now. I gotta finish reading that book as well as other books. I'm not gonna get live and procrastinating heavy. Well, not necessarily, depending on if you define procrastination. But in general speaking, though, no, I am. Hold on a second. Sorry. This is running. In general speaking, though, when it came down to things, I was able to comprehend that I wasn't from this universe. That wasn't difficult, though. Usually, when it comes to asking questions, at times you have a certainty within your being that's like, okay, I'm not from here. Like you just know, like intuitively, like you know. Like I just knew I wasn't from this universe. I was from somewhere entirely different because I was like the properties of this universe are very different. And usually your first thought would be, how do they feel different on this? Like it just feels different. Honestly, it just feels different the way this universe works. It's odd. Even though I know I'm on Earth right now, it's always felt really different. It's always felt really odd and off, and I'm just like, I know each like world has its own morals and rules and ways of going about things, but this world, this universe, just feels incredibly, hmm, interesting and just off to a certain degree. But to continue on for, I wonder if the trash need to be taken out. Nah, it's all good. Sorry, it's trash it today. So I'm like comprehending, trying to configure. Either way, getting back to things. So you said 10 universes, and I'm from Universe 3. I thought I was from Universe 2, actually. But I'm from Universe 3, which makes sense because basically, the bigger the number, the higher the level of intelligence from the universe. So basically, think about it. Well, kind of something like that. So basically, think about like Dragon Ball Super, the big like how if you guys have seen Dragon Ball Super in general speaking, the way it worked was from Universe 7 to Universe 6, going up till Universe 12, and the other universes combined. When it came down to things, the higher the universe, the more the intellectual number increased of basically how all life was in that universe. So if all life was highly intellectually increased, and the universe was higher ranked than the other universes, and so on. So when it comes down to our universes, it's not the same, but kind of similar in a sense. Little similar, just a little similar, not highly similar. It's complex to honestly speak on, given my knowledge is restricted as well. I'm actually asking my team. I'm talking to my team um, as I'm speaking, saying all this, getting confirmation from them as well, because they kind of have some sort of knowledge to to a degree of how things are and how things aren't. But yeah. But in Universe 3, all of and now I know information from Universe 3 is because not just because I'm from there, it's because my past life, the past life there, that I maintained a lot of knowledge from that universe, from that past life for some odd reason. But to continue on forth, hold on a second, my nose. My apologies. Alright. That is the first time I've ever had to blow my nose on a video. You know what? Who cares? It's just a bodily function. But basically, yeah, my past life is from that universe. And on Universe 3, it's interesting because, well, in Universe 3, not on Universe 3. In Universe 3, it's interesting because there's a whole, like, alliance between all the different species of Universe 3. There was a war. I remember that. There was a literal war, like, with all the, like, different planets and galaxies and all across, like, kilometers. Like, I mean, literally the entire universe engaged in war. It wasn't the best thing to see. Like, literally, it was like watching Star Wars. When I was seeing everything that was going on, I was like, wait a second. It's like Star Wars, but like not Star Wars. um, or Star Trek, depending how you want to go about things. But yeah, no, in Universe 3, it was 1,000 year war, literally 1,000 years of war, technically speaking. Depending on how they range time. So in human terminology, from what I could get, it was 1,000 years of war for a period of time until all the mates were like, "Hey, let's stop waging a war and just like be friends and all, guys, and like go towards like alliances and all." So now there's literally they have a system where it's like they have like ambassadors, like representatives from like each planet. I mean, like that's a lot of planets right there. For they have ambassadors from like each planet, but I'm willing to guess it's like probably not from each planet, and probably like from each solar system, perhaps possibly, because that would be too many planets right there. So probably from each solar system, or from each galaxy, they have representatives. Um, Mind you, the reason why I say this is because I was seeing things from probably a long time ago. Definitely a long time ago. Because time fluctuates differently in going in every universe. So, when it comes down to things, I was seeing things from my past life from thousands and thousands of years ago. Now, if I was to look back, I'm pretty sure things have changed given maybe 4,000, 5,000 years has passed since I was last there. So that's something to comprehend right there. So probably, definitely, I'm going to get the other thing, which is like from each solar system, from each galaxy, their representative, because that would make things a lot easier. But that still would mean they have like billions of like representatives, which is still a lot. But then again, other species are literally more intelligent than us, so it makes sense. Um, I could think about it as such a difficult way to fathom, but like it's not really difficult how the system would be because we're not part of it. So, not much to really know at that, right? Because that's what I came to comprehend. Um, that's how the system works. They also have they have like a market. So I love how like some movies kind of like have a good amount of realism to it. um, So basically, if you guys have seen what the hell is that? It's a movie. I forget the hell the movie's called, but in the movie it shows like a whole species that basically goes extinct because of some war that happens, and what happened? The planet is like literally destroyed. And the princess that dies, she sends her soul like elsewhere, um, like light years away, and what happens? In the movie it shows like how these other species have developed like I think it's like some sort of planet with like 1,000 species on it. I forget what it's called. But basically in Universe 3 there's a whole setup that's like I forget what the money was called. I forget what it was called, but they basically have a whole setup where he's each where my bad. Where he's the currency is interesting. It's not like money at all. It's something else. I forget what it is, but it's interesting, and the alliance goes towards them having their literal own currency, like literally one currency for like billions of species, trillions of species to go towards using, which is the interesting part, right? Um, I'm just like, there's no way. Like that's cool, right? Like to have one currency that a trillion different species use and know what the hell it is. It's really interesting. Um, but yeah, it's so cool. And I was seeing it, I was like, there's no way they have this. But yeah, they so yeah, they've the Atlantic have their own currency. They have their own way of doing things. Of course, they have their different languages, so that's you know. But yeah. But going specifically towards my world, um, so at first I thought the name was Endorian. I mean, I was incorrect. It's Infomorian. Yeah, Infomorian. Yeah, if I'm not correct. Infomorian? I forget. Something like that. Yeah, Infomorium. Um, whereas I was an Infomorian, simply put. Now, then there's the true name of the planet, which I won't speak because that's personal, literally. But those are the human translations of what the planet's actually called. If I were to say the true name of the planet, I'd probably say it in the tongue of the species. But on this world, it was there are three suns. I'll say that. When I was seeing my past life memories, I was like, are there three suns? What? I was it was miraculous how interesting what the imagery was. I was like, it felt like the grass was blue. And I was like, what? Well, technically speaking, I wouldn't really call it grass, but given I don't really know what the hell they define things as, but technically speaking, the grass was blue. um, the ground was just it was just so interesting. Like the imagery I'm like remembering seeing is like so cool. The seas were, or the sea in general, was incredibly deep and housed some 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 big creatures, some big life forms in the depths. Yeah, like I remember seeing imagery of it was in the newer way of things because they develop things incredibly fast, um, literally. So what they developed was like basically a hover vehicle that basically hovered over the water at a nice um at a nice distance, I guess you could say, above the water. Given if they used boats, the boats would have been destroyed easily because the moment basically what I learned is the moment the creatures like sense vibrations of the boats, they destroy them. Simply put. So they had developed like hovercrafts that actually was seeing what they look like. There was on the side there are these rectangular looking things that like blue light comes out of, and like it's somehow the mechanism is set up so that like usually you think like the stuff will be coming out from the bottom. No, it's coming out from like the sides, which makes it even more interesting. So I'm like, how do these things honestly work? But mind you, I didn't try to comprehend it because that their engineer, I guess, is just yeah. But yeah. But the interesting part is they're my people. Well, I can't say my peoples because I'm not part of that race anymore. But they're people, the people of the race species. They from my own memories watching things, because we were a warrior race to a certain degree, not entirely a warrior race, but like we fought when we needed to fight, but but they definitely understood training. Training was essential to a certain degree of growing up way back in the time I was born in, and it was like the so our look was more our parents more reptilian humanoid like. So basically, I remember we had four arms, literally, um, and we had tails. but we're like at least, mm, I'd say like from like 9 to 8 feet tall, 7 feet. Like the young ones would be like maybe 4 to 5 feet tall, and the adults would be like 9 to 8 feet tall, depending on the adult. So that was something interesting to comprehend as I was watching huge lizard people just walking around the city, like around the area, around the village, whatever the hell they called it. And I just paused and was like, interesting. That's very interesting when you see like big humanoid lizard beings just walking with materials or across their backs, and you're just like, and like with tails, and of course there's differentiation among them. They have each body is uh, goes towards different appearances. So also they went towards some sort of marking in a sense. So each body, of course, went about things differently. Some bodies were more bulky, some bodies were more scalier. Some look like a dragon scale. Some tails were shorter than others. Some tails were incredibly long. It varied from each individual. So so there definitely were differentiations, but towards markings, like towards kind of like war tattoos in a sense. So like that like so tribal markings, I guess you could say. So I'm pretty sure that stuff like that did exist. I do not recall actually. Kind of, yeah, but they weren't really used like that. They weren't necessarily used in that sort of manner. Kind of, it varies. Like I'm seeing memories as I'm like speaking to you guys, so I'm like kind of trying to go back and like relay information. Um, but yeah, but what I do remember is the concept of the weapons we used at the time. Let me say this like this: our skin, no matter how different we are from one another, our skin is like you could drop a nuke on us and it wouldn't do a single thing. You could drop the most powerful nuke in the world and it would not do a thing. Like our skin was that hardened. Like it was that hard. It was interesting to comprehend. Cause I was like, wait a second, how hard is our skin? And it was like something was giving me some sort of like understanding of how hard the skin was. I don't even know how, but it just was like I just knew how hard the skin was. I guess because like I used to be one of them, so it's like I had an idea of configuration of how easy it would be to penetrate the skin. Um, yeah, nothing on no material in this world can penetrate the skin of an Infomorian. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Um, sorry. But yeah. When it comes to weaponry, though, so this is where it got interesting because I was like, oh, Final Fantasy. So this is where it got interesting. So basically, when it comes to weaponry, we don't make weapons. Like we don't forge them, like how humans have to forge weapons and so on. We make weapons from materialization. So basically, literally, so it's like so think about it like in Final Fantasy, where you just think of the weapon. I guess. Wait, how does Final Fantasy do it? Actually, I never thought about it. You know, it doesn't matter. But basically, the way we do it is kind of like basically, you think of the weapon you want, of how it may look, and so on, and then you practically grab it out of the air, and as you're grabbing it out of the air, it materializes, and then you start wielding it. Literally, that's how weapons worked for us. I was like, what? When I watched this happen between two subordinates training, I was like, did they just materialize weapons out of the air? It's just materialized it. I don't know. Just thought about it, and it just came out. But also something to comprehend was that, and like so, yes, the color of the weapon, everything will be of their own liking. Whatever they wanted it to be, it was simply, which is powerful if you ask me. That's something else. Um, and to consider, they didn't speak like how humans speak. They literally the communication was through telepathy, pure telepathy, which makes sense as to why I'm so good at telepathy. It makes sense. That's why, like, when I was comprehending the species, I was like, oh, so that's why I'm so good at telepathy. No wonder, because again, the traits you carry from your past lives carry down into your present lifetime now. So I comprehend. Okay, that's why I'm so good at telepathy. Interesting. Because you could look at it as like like family heritage sense, but like my family has not been the best at telepathy at all. They're not good at it. They're really not. They do it like half the time sometimes, not even knowingly aware, but like nah, they're not like that. Even though Jamaicans are known for voodoo and other magic traits, no. But yes, when it came down to things, I comprehended various factors from that. I was like, whoa, there's no way. Um, so they're speaking from using telepathy, purely telepathy. So it was like, oh, so I was like, wait a second. So they don't even use their mouths like that? And the way their mouths were, it looked as though they didn't really use their mouths at all, which was the funny part. I wasn't trying to see like how they like roared and all, if they did that at all to begin with. I mean, I guess they didn't. But like they made some sort of sound at times that wasn't like a roar, but it was something. But it was like the way their faces looked was interesting. It was just I couldn't even describe it. It was just like they were like if I were to draw a picture, it'd probably be better, but that'd be difficult to do given the memory is not that like vivid. Honestly, unless I'm closing my eyes, it's not that vivid at all. But it's like like right here it would be like kind of like a crater, like a circle, but like a crater goes kind of a little bit inwards, and like it was just like it's like around the like the front of the mouth, right front of the face. There were like no sort of like crevices for like speech to occur. Like it was just like the face was it was like it's like someone like sewing your mouth shut, whereas you can't like open your mouth, but you can like speak with like make sounds somehow with like the muscles within your like thing. But the way the species was in Fomorians, it was interesting, very interesting. Um, Wait, my bad. So it's Infomorians. Thank you, not Infomorians. Thank you. Yeah, Infomorians. So Infomorians. Morians. Yeah, Infomorians. And the way um what I was gonna say? Oh yes, besides the parents, besides the thing, besides speech, um, yeah, we just had two legs. We just had like regular two legs. It wasn't anything like four or five legs or any of that crap. We There were species where like that looked like like centipedes with like six legs and like an upper body that was like a what the hell moment. Like I'm sorry, if a human went towards the universe, like toward the Infomorian planet, they wouldn't survive long. I'm sorry, they really wouldn't survive long. It's incredible what I wasn't comprehending. I was like, wow, no human would survive, or not even in the ocean, mind you. Other thing I also wanted to say is the way the planet works, the people, um, basically. So there are different terrains, of course, within the planet. Like bound to have different terrains. Um, Different differentiation is we have people underwater too. So with the way the world works, you people that are in like the hotter parts of the world, the colder parts of the world, the windier parts, all the sorts, even underwater, basically. So like just like how you have civilization to the east, west, north, south. That's basically how we have it, except we even have civilizations that are underwater. So that's something to comprehend right there. Underwater civilizations. But with that, it's not that safe at times. It's not, it could be safer, but they're like creatures, like I mean underwater creatures that are like as big as Godzilla. Like literally as big or bigger than Godzilla. So like I remember I was seeing one memory of like I guess a sailor or like one of the beings was fishing. One of the Infomorians was fishing, and I was seeing imagery of the water, and it was seeing like I was seeing like a huge, big, just face, like I mean a huge face, and like big glowing eyes, like big glowing. The eyes were like yellowish, whitish, glowing, and I just was like, "What the hell is that?" Like I just like it just like all you could like it's not even like a blinked or open his eyes. I don't even know. I think it opened his eyes. I couldn't tell. It just was like I the eyes were just open. And I just was like, or I think the eyes were open. Maybe that's not what it's. Maybe its eyes weren't open. That's just how it looked. I couldn't tell you. Um, and I just paused and I was like, "What the f?" And it was just as I went towards land of water civilizations, trying to see them. I couldn't really do that because the me that was there before one of my first lifetimes never really ventured out into the seas, into like the water like that. Like maybe just to get a fish or two or whatever the hell sort of aquatic life it was I was trying to obtain then, but never towards that stuff. No. Never trying to see the other places that were down underneath the water. So that was something to comprehend. I'm pretty sure other peoples did that, but it was more so for control to make sure that we had a balanced environment within the planet, so that we can get resources from all over the world, from all over the planet, not just from like the ground and so on. So we did. They way they went about things was incredibly very, I guess I want to say agricultural, but I mean very just developed. It was really it makes sense. Like if humans were to really go underwater, like develop some sort of way to have aquatic uh submergence underwater and have civilizations underwater, like how the Murmur do things. It's like, but I mean, of course we don't have gills like the Murmur do. Again, if you don't know, mermaid are mermaids basically, but they're called merma actually. But yeah, no. If we were able to go underwater and truly be able to live underwater, we could get so many more nutrients and resources from the entire world. I'm pretty sure if we knew how to do it, that is, or could do it, then things would definitely change immensely. But getting back to things, from my own past life memories, um, uh, let's see, I was a leader of a sort, a chief, I guess you could say. Um, I had my, you know, wife, whatever the hell you call her, my partner on that world. Um, Reproduction was actually interesting. I was trying to see how reproduction happened. If like they came out of eggs, like, and it just it was interesting. But what I did come across is that when they're born, they get a familiar. So basically, when I forget if the familiar chooses them or they choose the familiar. I forget how it all goes. But when they're born, they choose a familiar or they get a familiar. Well, I don't know how. Again, I forget how it works. Um, but it was interesting to comprehend and fathom because I was seeing my familiar, which is my dog now in this current lifetime of mine, and it was my My dog was actually like a shapeshifter, but a water shapeshifter. So everything he turned into was practically and primarily water based. So that was very interesting to comprehend. Um, very, very, very interesting to comprehend. And when I saw it, I was like, "What? There's no way." Um, but yeah. Um, oh, hey. Yes, I'm tired. So yeah, so there's that one. Then just continue on forth or further. Yeah, reproduction. I just was like, I was trying to understand it, but then I was like, you know what? Let me just call it a day and say screw it, because like this is just too draining. Because I was getting a lot of information. I just was like, bro, I'm just done. Like I just, okay, I get it, I get it. I'm just done now. But to continue on for, yeah, I just was done. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. As patient as I am, I just was like, I am not getting anywhere with this. Like, what's going? Like, I just don't know how this all works, and I'm just done. I'm just tired of it. Goodbye. But technology wise, it was like I remember being in the one, I guess my house, and seeing like some sort of like telegraph thing, like some sort of digital like TV of some sort. Like it was interesting when I was seeing. I was like, what the hell is that? I couldn't really. I know I was seeing some sort of imagery. I couldn't tell what the hell I was seeing. In truth, it was interesting the way they had things set up. Very interesting. Um, but what I can say is that what happened? The elders of the world could fly, rather levitate, not fly. Levitate is the best word to use actually. So they didn't have to walk at all. They could just levitate everywhere. So that was, mind you, the elders. Oh, so like so the ages went from I was at least in my adult form, I was at least 500 years old, at least, mind you. The elders were like 1,000 years old or more. So yes, you can live a very, 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 very long time there. I don't even know how like age fluctuated there. I really don't. I'm just like, it's only I lived there for 500 years. I guess that's how I took it. But then again, age is the way age works on different worlds is incredibly different from other worlds. So it varies. But that's what I could grasp. Um, Now to continue going, there was like no beds or anything like that. Which was interesting, Paul. But I do remember just seeing tall statues, huge statues. I just was that had me paused in awe. Like huge, just huge wooden statues that whatever the hell they were made of, that just hold on a second. I'm just trying to get my eye. My bad. Um, that was something to really comprehend. Like it gave me the feeling of like seeing modern Hashirama and Naruto, like those two statues, but far bigger, far bigger statues. Probably, mm, size wise, I couldn't say. Maybe as big as the Eiffel Tower. They were big statues. So, um, but yeah, but what I can say is that towards my own life there, because I was like, how did I die? I came to comprehend that I died roughly due to being killed brother murdered. Well, my family and me actually were all murdered. Not with the concept of like being like murdered in the sense of like our house was set aflame. So they would, so the fire there was not like fire, but like kind of like gas. Um, and the gas would like just melt you in a sense, but kind of like flames. It was interesting. Um, it was like you couldn't breathe in the gas, or else like it's like your skin will begin to like melt off, literally melt. Um, it was incredible, like what I was actually seeing. Like it looked like fire, but it wasn't fire. And the other village people, like even though they wanted to help and see what's going on, the moment they saw the gas, they knew that anyone in that house was screwed. Like they knew it like that. Like yeah, it's actually I think that the chemical was used a time ago, back when back when war was really going down like that. Or I forget when, but I know it was used for something like altars or ceremonies, but then it was banned after a time because they voted it was too dangerous to use. Because if you like used it incorrectly and wrongly, you'd kill if you just if a ceremony went awry and things just went south, those who would be anything the gas come in touch with our species, they'd melt. Like any part of the body would begin to just melt and drop off. Like literally like acid touching your skin and it just dying, like the cells dying in seconds and so on. So that's how it was for us. That was the one thing that could actually destroy our skin, which was interesting. Um, or kill us, which was interesting. But yes, I remember my familiar, my dog. He was trying to protect me and my family, but of course that didn't last very long. Not saying he didn't do a good job. We were proud of it. We were proud of him, but like we knew he could only do so much. We knew when his protection wouldn't last before he died first, and then we all joined him. We knew it. So we just all it was me, my wife, and I had two kids. Literally, that's like me and my wife, my two kids. They like the usual fun, stereotypical thing, right? Which was ironic, which had me feel it was ironic. But no, me and my kids, my wife, we just huddled like together and just like we knew what our fate was. We were like, okay, we're both prepared. We're ready. We can do it. It'll be painful, but like at least we're a family. As this is happening, right? Um, but yeah, but I will say abilities wise, each Infomorian had different abilities. Very different abilities. I had telepathy was one of my abilities. One of my wife's abilities was levitation. Or one of my partner's abilities was levitation, as well as other abilities. Like all Infomorians were very well aware of what our abilities were. We were incredibly aware, actually. Um, we used them like on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, that was something. Um, but kid-wise, yeah, of course, my kids didn't live long. One years, but what I had to comprehend was that my partner, who was with me on that world, I guess our soul connection like followed into like this universe because like we got with each other like when I was 16. And then when I was going through my awakening and realizing various different things, I was like, wait a second. You telling me she's from? I was like connecting the dots, and I was like, so she's from then. Oh, oh. So yeah, my wife was my ex in this kind of lifetime, which is the funny part. Um, that's all. I don't know if that's all or not. I feel like I covered everything. Um, but yeah, that was me speaking about Infimorium and the planet we lived on, which was beautiful. I'm sorry, more beautiful than Earth. Far more beautiful. But we did fight against a certain species that wanted to eat us more so than less. Um, now, if I can remember properly, the species, mm, they had fur, but like they were kind of like werewolves in a sense, but not. I say that's because their bodies were like humanoid wolves, but like they had fur, like they had black skin that would be like on their hands. But okay, hold on a second. So basically, where their bodies were was like there'd be fur right here, no skin, just black skin, fur. So like skin, fur, like all. That's how the body was, literally. And I just paused and I was like, "What the hell?" But they had like their claws were just so strong. Like I was seeing imagery, it was so interesting. But no, their claws were incredibly strong, and they used some sort of body like attachment. I think it was their tails. Yeah, excuse me. Their tails were like scorpion tails in a sense, but not like that at all. Their tails could like impale us basically, like kind of like a trident in a sense. It was interesting the way their tails were formed, honestly. Um, and the way their mouths were was like I remember it was like you'd like one thing that went like out here, but the way their mouths were developed was like oh my god, it reminds me of kind of like Resident Evil, but also kind of reminds me like a beetle or like a soldier ant, rather like big army ant. It's so difficult to describe, but that's how their mouths were, and I was like, what the hell? Like, what kind of like species is this? But yeah, it was very interesting. They were on a different part of the planet, but would come out like just to like see if they could like raid us and kill us. So we developed various ways of like killing them, of course, for survival. So that was something to understand. But but this species that would try to kill us, they seem very primitive, like incredibly primitive. Like the only instinct was to kill us. Like there was no other instinct, like to eat us for food. No sort of speech, I guess. Oh, we never tried understanding them. We never tried, as far as I'm concerned. As far as I remember, we never tried. It was interesting in that perspective because usually you try to understand why would certain beings eat, drink, they even drink or eat to begin with, and so on. We didn't try to understand them. We just killed them. Like the Infomorians did not care. They just were like, no, we're just going to kill them. We're not going to try to understand them. Um, but oh yes, the reason why I was killed was because I was part of before when the alliance was early. Things were early because again, though all the planets were like going to war to a certain degree, um, it was like our world was like not really in the war like that. We were like really peaceful to a high degree. So like we weren't really doing things like that. But from what I could uncover and comprehend, our world was part of the alliance at the beginning of the alliance because it's not like it started like the moment the war was done. No, it began gradually, slowly, very slowly actually. And I was one of the representatives. Because I was one of the leaders of my world, and one of the youngest too. If I'm not correct, because all the other elders were like 1,000 years old or more, and I was like one of the younger individuals, and I was killed simply because I think I was killed because I was part of the alliance, and yes, that's why I was killed. And the species behind it were trying to unsettle the alliance. I think for some sort of odd reason. But yes, I remember that the big culprit behind it, I think, was part of my own species. Yes, actually, yeah. I just remember, yeah, the being behind it was part of my own species, and just was like, okay, if I kill you, the alliance gets like unsettled and so on, and yeah. So I mean, you'll always find beings who do not want things for the greater good exist in every universe. If not correct. There are those who are greedy and don't want peace, and there are those who are not greedy and crave peace and serenity. Um, but now let's get towards the next thing. So I had astral traveled there, kind of like astral projected too. It was different. It was out this time around. So when I got there, I decided to kind of like walk around and like see how things were. Like this was roughly a year ago. A year ago. So like last year, roughly. And as I was seeing like things looked so like it was just so new. Everything was just so much more heavily advanced than things were before. Like it was literally a huge marketplace that I was seeing. I was like, whoa. But I also witnessed someone just like even though like there's killing is banned on my world on my old world, it's banned there. If you kill someone, you're getting executed yourself. So it's like if you kill someone, you better make sure you don't get caught, basically, or else you'll be killed yourself. Doesn't matter why you killed them. Doesn't matter what they did to you. You can't commit murder. It's literally again you'll be executed. Um, yeah, when someone get killed like in some sort of alley like place, and I was like, yeah, that person's gonna get executed. That was stupid. That was real stupid of them to do. So yeah. And then I was looking up further. I was like, okay, let me just fly. Let me just go up a bit and see what's going on with this place, like now. And like, given like thousands of years have passed, if I'm not correct. And I was seeing it, the structures they use, like there was one structure that I saw, like some sort of building was so, it was just so huge. I mean, it was big as hell. Like if I was in the Viking era, they would have said it went up to the heavens. If I was in the Viking era, um, that's the best way to describe it. It was just that big, and it was gleaming white. And it was just so beautiful. I couldn't even tell you how like I'd have to draw it out in order to show you guys how it looked. Um, but basically, I remember going towards the water. Actually, no, no. Far towards the water, I went towards these individuals training. It was different species being trained by one of the Infomorians, and the Infomorian was they were huge. They were just big, muscular, huge. Then again, the Infomorians didn't really have muscle like that, but they did. But it's like they just looked big. They just were big, simply put. Like they had different body masses, but they just like the ones who would like just fought and trained and with a battle and all like the generals and all commanders. They were just big, like just big. Like there's no way to describe it as big. Like literally, like no sort of like. So a way I can give an example is basically the being I'd seen his muscle was basically so. See how my arm is? How big my arm is? Maybe like 2.5 arms put together. Maybe three at most arms put together. That's how big his arm was. Well, that's how big their arm was. Yeah, yeah, right. Three arms put like triangular form put together. That's how big their arm was. And I was like their arms were. I was like, whoa, that's a huge arm. Like those are some huge arms he has. Um, but he was training a different species, and this species had like literally 3 fingers, and I was like, "How are you gonna train them when you have more fingers than they do, bro?" By the way, my species didn't have 5 fingers either. They had, I think, 4. Yeah, definitely 4 fingers. Some beings had like 2. I don't know how they use 2 fingers, but just it was 2, which was the interesting part. Um, but every species has its way of doing this. It probably was either like this or like sideways, crab-like, or just kind of like this maybe. It depends. But basically, what I was witnessing was one of the species. There was on the species I was seeing that was being trained. It was 2 of them. They were like they were white, like they look like Jello in a sense, like white Jello, like beings, kind of, but like the Jello, like non-clear, like kind of like pudding, like Jello-ish pudding. You could tell that like they were very fluid in their bodies and very flexible in a sense. Like you could feel it, you could tell. But like the way their parents looked was just like white, and I just was like, "What the hell is this?" It felt like I was in a cartoon, kind of, sort of, and it was interesting to me because what happened? There was 2 giant beings, 2 giant. Remember the things I talked about before that were like the beings with like 6 legs? Yeah, yeah, these beings because they were in the swamp-like areas, and I don't know why they were training in the swamp-like areas though. It was interesting to me. And in the swamp-like areas, they these beings tried to attack, and the 2 trainees just like went to cover to hide, and the big dude, I mean, it was like watching an action movie. This man took off, or this being took off. It's like I don't know if it's a man or woman, because yeah, because even the women in the world were like you really could not tell the women or men apart. You really couldn't. Like they could tell themselves apart. You couldn't tell them apart at all. Um, there was no makeup, nothing. It was interesting. But basically, this man took off. I remember seeing him take off like an arm or two in one strike toward one of the beings, and like their blood was just like acid like if their blood got like the moment it went to the ground, it started to just kill the life on the ground and just burn it to the bone. Rather burn it like just to nothingness. I just was like, I watched that happen. I was like, there's no way. Like if their blood was to drop down onto your skin, it would just destroy you, literally destroy you. So yeah, it was interesting to comprehend that. But no, I remember I watched it. I watched the being just kill both these things that were huge. I mean, like 12 feet tall, huge. And the being was like, sorry, I'm like trying to say, I'm trying not to say he, because like I'm just used to saying he. The being was like maybe 9 feet tall, 8 to 8 feet tall at least, and they just shredded. The being just shredded both these creatures at his paws. Like what? Like the thing that they did at the end was like they put their sword just like whatever sword or weapon they had and just put it straight through its head and just killed it like just like that. And I just was like, wow, that's so dope. Like, that was it was so like amazing to see. I was like, what? There's no way. I was like, that's so amazing. That's so cool, bro. Yeah, literally, I found out. I'm not gonna lie, I found out. I was like, yeah, oh my God, this is so good. This is so great to see. This is badass. Sorry, I was like looking like with my brother, with my little brother. Um, but basically, what happened after that was I went to the sea. Well, near the sea, it was like at some sort of port, I guess you could say. They had, but not any boats, of course. Uh, I happened to come across this old man. It looked like he was fishing. Now, mind you, the astroplane, you're bound to come across various different things. So, seeing an old man wasn't really surprising to me. Um, but what did surprise me was the fact that he had said to me, "What are you doing here?" And I was like, "You talking to me?" I was like, "You talking to me?" He's like, "Yes, I'm talking to you." And I was like, "You can see me? You can hear me?" He was like, "Yes, you're in the astral plane. What are you doing here?" And I was like, uh, "I'm just seeing like my old world." He was like, "Yes, but you're no longer part of this world." And I was like, "I mean, I know that, but like, I can still visit the place." And he looked at me and he said, "Yes, but you're no longer part of this world. You're from Earth. You're on Earth now. You were here before. You died. You're now on Earth, on a different universe. What are you doing here?" I just was like, "I just was trying to see my old place, bro. What the hell?" And he just, I just was like, what, like what? He just looked at me and said, "You're not Kukuro. You're not who you used to be on this world. You're from Earth now. Begin to live on Earth in the present as your own, as the being you are now, and the new incarnation that you are now. Not the Infomorian you were, but the human you are now." And after that, he literally said like, yeah, he said his literal words were, "All right, it's your time to go now." And I was like, well, then my alarm went off. I set an alarm on my phone before I went out my body, and I came back after that, and I was like, he knew my alarm was gonna go off. What? But then I had to comprehend that astral beings are just so very incredibly intelligent, more intelligent than humans are, far more like perceptive and understanding and observative, far more intuitive. It's crazy. But yeah, that was my experience. It was quite interesting, honestly. But with that being said, yes, that was my experience with leaving my body and going to my old world in Universe 3. I didn't even know I could travel to different universes. I was just testing things out. That was an experiment. That was literally an experiment. But with that being said, guys, I just wanted to release this video. I will not be posting for a period of time because I have to focus on myself more so and get some things done. Even I'm in hermit mode at the moment right now, so this will be the last video I'll be posting for quite some time. Yeah, I'll be getting back to you guys, maybe some tarot videos. Depends. Depends on my mood. Well, that means that I hope you guys have a lovely morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it may be for any and all of you. And goodbye. Jean.